What makes someone inspirational? Accomplishments? Irrefutable struggles? Or maybe it's a combination of both. Regardless, we've all taken inspiration from someone. And in one way or another, they have influenced a change in us. Whether it's as simple as going to the gym every day or as big as trying to make it to the NBA, inspiration is something that a lot of us use to drive our passions to where they can exceed our own expectations. Without it, there's no spark or ignition to try to go above and beyond what we already have. It's a very magical thing because there's no other feeling like it. Inspiration can come from so many different things, which is why everyone has their own stories and reasonings as to why they are inspired. And Blue Box is an anime that captures that in a way that I've never seen done before. Taiki is a young teenage boy who loves the sport of badminton, and just like your typical shonen sports protagonist, his goal is to make it big and go to nationals. He's not the best player on his team, but every day he makes an effort to wake up early in the morning and practice by himself in a gym before school starts. Except there's one other person who's always there before him, Chinatsu. Chinatsu is a girl that's one grade above Taiki. She's on a girls' basketball team, and similar to him, she has a strong ambition to qualify for nationals. For Taiki, Chinatsu is the most hardworking and devoted athlete he's ever seen. She's the reason why he wakes up so early in the morning to try to get better every single day. However, despite that, these two people haven't actually met each other. It's clear from episode 1 that Chinatsu doesn't even know Taiki's name, because up until this point, it's always just been Taiki looking at her from a distance. Yet Chinatsu has had such a big impact on his life without even knowing it. But that's the reality of how astonishing inspiration can be. Let's look at Jimmy Butler, for example. He's a basketball player that 99% of us haven't met before, but holds one of the most inspiring journeys in becoming an NBA superstar. At the age of 13, Butler was homeless. He didn't have a father, and he was kicked out of his house by his own mother, with her last words being, "I don't like the look of you, you gotta go," before shutting the door forever. Butler was abandoned and had to bounce house to house just to survive. And this is what he had to go through until his senior year of high school, where he finally found a permanent home and a family to come back to. And from there, well, everyone knows the rest.
With the 30th pick in the 2011 draft, the Chicago Bulls select Jimmy Butler.
My senior year, I found a stable home that just kept me, not because they thought I would be anything in basketball or because I'd be here interviewing on ESPN, but they felt it was
Can he win it here? It is Butler for the win. Yes! Butler buries the
Just a no-name kid trying to make it for so much to say. I started small and worked my way up, but now, I'm starting all over again.
To the MVP.
Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler.
Knifing his way, Jimmy Butler.
Any kid can make it out of any situation if they put their mind on it and never give up on their dreams.
We don't want to say if we would have made this stop or if we wouldn't have turned the ball over. We know what we got to do. So there shouldn't
Even if you don't watch the NBA or don't know anything about Jimmy Butler, just reading about his struggles and circumstances that he had to live through is inspiring. Because at the end of it all, it was his own work ethic that got him through every single moment of his life. And with that, he was able to shape what he's known for today. It doesn't matter if you've ever met him or not, and that's because his story and legacy alone is enough to inspire millions of people around the world. There's a sense of wanting to be like him because it's his efforts that are admired. And that's the same exact inspiration that Taiki sees when he looks at Chinatsu. She's a symbol of admiration, someone who he wants to be, all because of one moment. During Chinatsu's last year in junior high, she didn't make it to nationals. She lost her only opportunity to qualify that year, and it devastated her. Because at that very moment, she lost everything. It didn't matter how much she practiced or how much she wanted to go, because it was the end results that actually determined whether or not her efforts were enough. And after losing her qualifying game for nationals, it was clear to her that all of it was rejected. But the very next day, right after the loss, Taiki sees Chinatsu practicing in a gym by herself. And we get to see this beautiful shot of Chinatsu picking up a basketball and shooting it through her own tears. Because that's how much she loved it. She wasn't going to let her own losses hold her love for basketball captive. Instead, Chinatsu chose to use her frustrations to spark an ambition to improve. And the only way that she could do that was by moving forward. She felt like she had to practice even after losing her last junior high game because that's the type of athlete Chinatsu is. An athlete that's more afraid to stand still than she is of losing. And that's the type of person that Taiki inspires to be. He wants to be someone that's always improving. He wants to be someone that isn't afraid to put his own expectations on the line. He wants to be someone that's always moving forward, just like Chinatsu. And seeing someone so passionate and devoted to their sport would inspire anyone to do the same. Hina is another athlete in the show, and she's not only the best rhythmic gymnast in her school, but one of the top competitors in all of Japan. From an outside perspective, Hina is the embodiment of perfection, someone that's born with natural talent. And a lot of people are inspired by her ability to perform consistently at such a high level. Hina is a star, but that's exactly why it's so easy to assume that she doesn't take or need inspiration from other people. Because why would someone as talented as Hina need to look at anyone else when it seems like she has everything? Well, that's because just like Hina, a lot of us look at our own imperfections in other people, and those imperfections aren't always brandished for everyone else to see. If you didn't know, in addition to being a sports anime, Blue Box also has a romance component to it. And Taiki has always been someone that Hina not only admires, but loves. She admires how honest he is with his own feelings and loves how despite that, he somehow manages to move forward in any direction he puts his mind to. He's not afraid to chase after what he wants. But Taiki has feelings for Chinatsu, and when it comes to love, Hina has always been the type of person to hold herself back, never having the courage to chase after it. Her imperfections are seen in both Chinatsu and Taiki because, unlike them, it's her own expectations that are blocking her from moving forward in the direction she wants to go. She wants to be honest with her feelings for Taiki. She wants him to know how much he means to her, but Hina is scared that she's going to lose everything and everyone if the outcome doesn't meet her own expectations. Something Hina has always had to deal with, especially in gymnastics. Hina comes from a family that has a history in the Olympics, and there's a lot of pressure for her to meet the same standards. Her whole life has always been about meeting other people's expectations. So when it comes time to confront her own, the consequences of failing to meet them weighs even heavier. To everyone else, Hina is a star that's always making progress. But there's a part of her that no one sees that chooses to stand still, waiting for someone to show her that it's okay to take that step forward without looking back and worrying about what should have happened. And both Taiki and Chinatsu are showing her exactly that. It's Taiki's straightforward mindset to make it to nationals and honest feelings for Chinatsu that speaks volumes to Hina. It's Chinatsu's strong ambitions to work hard even if her efforts aren't guaranteed to meet her expectations that inspire Hina to do the same. When you're surrounded by people who refuse to stand still, you have no choice but to find your own way to not fall behind. And that's what makes Hina's story so genuine. She's able to take inspiration from so many different parts of people and use it to grow and overcome parts of herself that others will never know about.
珍しいじゃん。誰の心配してんの？大丈夫大丈夫。私は蝶のひな様ぞ。我慢して済むなら我慢しないと。もう痛くない。次は行くよ。もっと上に。頑張れって言ってくれない？
I've never been a big fan of sports anime. I don't know what it is, but they've never been my type of thing, which is kind of weird because I played a lot of sports growing up. But when it came to actually watching shows around them, there was always that disconnect between the characters and the experiences that I had. So I've always been someone who wasn't very interested in it. But Blue Box feels a bit different. Everything about this show, from the character growth to the competitive nature of sports, it all feels natural, and that's simply because there's not one moment in the show where it feels like there's regression. Everyone's always moving forward in their own ways, and that's what happens when you take a group of people who are inspired by each other in so many different manners. People start to change in ways they never thought were possible.